The National Economic Consultative Forum, the NECF, recently hosted a dialogue on the implications of declining global fuel prices on the Zimbabwean economy. In the wake of global oil prices decreasing, the assumption was that consumers in Zimbabwe would be able to enjoy the benefits that the rest of the world are, a reduction in consumer prices.
Yeah, I realize the fuel prices have gone down, but it's quite insignificant.
I honestly think if only we could just have the world market price, not the Zimbabwean kind of pricing of fuel.
I'm not too sure how it translates, but it should be way cheaper. 80 cents or something.
Even though the minister did give a directive to reduce prices at some point, the reduction people felt was not to the level that they were expecting. So we felt that we should bring all parties together, stakeholders, to discuss this issue.
Held at the Rainbow Towers Hotel in Harare, the dialogue called on various players from the finance, energy and transportation industries, as well as consumer groups, to come together and brainstorm.
I would like to perhaps receive a clear explanation of the fuel costing model.
I'm expecting that we really have a closer look at our cost builder of the whole value chain of fuel from the time it's brought into the country up to retail.
What I want to hear or to gather from the stakeholders or the responsible people in the fuel pricing is why did it take this long for the fuel to go down? Is it an issue of ethics?
After the welcome remarks by the NECF National Committee co-chairperson Mr. Ndudzo were made, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Chinamasa, delivered the keynote address.
Let me also thank the National Economic Consultative Forum for organizing this important event that touches on a global issue that has important implications for our people, for our industry, and for the national economy. The current reduction in global fuel prices is an important development for Zimbabwe. I urge all the delegates to come up with mutually beneficial solutions for this critical industry. Let's find a way of working as a one family, Zimbabwe, on issues of national interest.
This was followed by an illuminating presentation on developments in the petroleum subsector from the Minister of Energy and Power Development, Honorable Undenge.
My ministry always holds regular consultations with the petroleum sector, and of course we discuss issues relating to pricing and other issues affecting the industry. And we will continue doing so that we give the best to the consumers, and what we want as a government is a win-win situation. The consumer must benefit, the oil companies must benefit, government must benefit, so the all-stakeholder approach should result in every stakeholder winning.
Rounding off the main presentations was the CEO of Zimbabwe Energy Regulatory Authority, ZERA, who took a closer look into fuel cost buildup in Zimbabwe.
What is important is that there is need to continuously review our pricing mechanisms. Maybe they worked for us before and there was no problems, but as changes come, then we have to look at that and see whether we can then be prepared for further such turbulences which we were maybe caught unprepared for.
The day's program was very interactive, deliberately stimulating discussions between each segment through its focused Q&A sessions. With policy input from the government and expert perspectives from fuel dealers, transporters and consumer bodies, rich exchanges were had.
Honorable Minister, relating to fuel pricing, you mentioned the existence of a pricing model. My question is the model available to the players in the fuel sector? The formula is available to the public. Anyone interested will access that formula. It's not a secret.
Mr. Chikondo was on hand to make the closing remarks on behalf of Mr. J. Mupamanga, Deputy Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet.
Let me begin by congratulating the National Consultative Forum for successfully organizing this important dialogue on fuel prices. The discussions here have been very exciting and eye-opening. As we leave this room, I want to assure all participants that the suggestions put forward and proposed recommendations will be taken seriously. Indeed, it is through dialogue that we all acquire greater understanding of the challenges facing the different stakeholders and collectively determine means of addressing such challenges in a constructive and harmonious manner.
Various issues were brought to light, from looking at our pricing model to ways to regulate the quality of the fuel we put into our cars, to issues concerning the blending of fuel. Though the dialogue was a first step, resolutions were made which can be used as a solid foundation to build upon.
I'm quite happy to know that the Honorable Minister for Energy indicated that they are working on coming up with a acceptable pricing model, actually amending, already there is one, but amending the one which is there so that it captures the needs of the consumers.
I think it was a good meeting, very informative. For me, what was important was that we need to have pricing models that respond very quickly to what is happening in the international market. If we are saying we are deregulated and we let the market work, there's no reason for waiting for 6 to 10 months period and have the minister having to say this should happen. The model itself should be able to react so that there is quicker impact on part of whether they are the fuel retailers or the consumers themselves, so that we enjoy these changes that happen on the international market as quickly as possible.
It was very informative. It went on very, very well. My expectations were really met, because that is what I expected the NECF to do, is the correct fora to discuss these issues of pricing as frankly and transparently as possible.